Hi, I'm Shelby. I'm 30 years old and I moved back home with my parents. Yep, I sound like a failure, right? And if you move back home with your parents, you might be thinking the same thing about yourself, but it's okay. I'm here to tell you it's okay. You're not a failure. I'm not a failure. And this is just like part of the process. Honestly, this is not the end. This is an end game. I'm not going to stay here forever. And if I did, it'd probably be because like the world's ending or something. And you know what? We need each other in communities anyways. But this is not end game. Like I'm still. I'll just explain the process. Okay, so on my journey. So 2 years ago, I was working for I was doing accounting for an IT job, and it was just I just felt like lack of purpose. It was just so mundane, so blah. It was just like, oh, I can't do this for the next, I don't know, 40, 50 years of my life. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm gonna go insane. And so I was like, I have to do something else. And I mean, I basically gave my 2 weeks without really a backup plan. Like I didn't have a job lined up. I just kind of quit my job 2 weeks. Um, And I was like, I don't know exactly how it's going to work out. I'm just going to figure it out. And so I built like an online business and I wasn't really promoting it much. And that was my own like lack of self-confidence or belief in, doing sales and promoting it and things like that. Um, and so yeah, I've had that for the past 2 years, my website. I was like working part-time here or there, doing kind of like freelance work for multiple companies, but not really working full-time. So, and I made some money online, but not enough to support my, lifestyle. And so, and then I started doing threads like a year ago, and I've been really like building online, and now I'm trying to build on YouTube. So I'm really in like the building process, and like I said, I haven't been promoting it that well, but um, yeah, so it wasn't enough to sustain over the past 2 years, but um, like when I quit, I was just really kind of at like a burnt out phase, like, working full time, all that time that I did, and like, so I don't know if I said this, but like, so the past 2 years I wasn't living at home. I was living at my own place, but like before that, I was home for a little bit of time, but I moved away, get back home, whatever. I lived at home for the past 25 years of my life, like from birth to 25, I was living at home. And I had a lot of like anxiety and stress and like I was just like burnt out, basically. Like my body, my mind, everything was burnt out. My nervous system burnt out. And if you don't take the time to rest, your body will force you to rest. So if you've like gone through a lot, your nervous system's burnt out, you're always stressed out, like once you come to like a healing phase, you're going to be resting a lot, which is exactly what I did for the past 2 years. And I worked on myself a lot, like internally, I worked through a lot for the past 2 years. Like it was nothing to like show for externally, but internally, that's where I was doing all the work. And the past 2 years that I took off was totally worth it. And like I do not regret it. And it was totally like completely part of my journey that it was worth it and it was necessary and I don't regret it at all. So basically it came to a point where I was like, I'm kind of running out of money at this point and I didn't have another job. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna have to move back home. And I was like pushing it off. Like I was like, I do not want to do this. I was like pushing it as far as I could go so that I did not have to move home. And it just came to the point where I was like, I just have to, you know, get over this ego of, not wanting to feel like a failure to move back home, and just do it. And it's funny, actually, when I finally decided to move back home, I got offered another job, which I'm getting paid the most that I've ever been paid in my life. So I'm making the most money I've ever made. And I'm also still continuing to build online. And I just, I know, like, I feel like I'm on the verge of something. Like it's about to pop off. Like I can feel it. I know there's more coming. And I'm just like, oh, I get chills because I'm so excited. Um, so I don't feel like a complete failure. Like I'm still doing things. I'm still trying to build. I'm still doing as much as I can to get out of the situation. And it's not permanent. It's just temporary. Um, and so yeah, I had to like kind of work through the feeling of um like your external, like what's going on externally has nothing to do with your intrinsic worth and value. Like my intrinsic worth and value is never changing. It's solid, right? And my external, whatever's going on external, does nothing. So if you're like feeling bad about yourself because you're moving back home, just know your intrinsic worth and value is it's there. It's not changing. It's you have to like fully believe in yourself. And this is another thing, like showing up. Like I'm trying to show up online as much as I can, and it's like scary as hell. But showing up is going to bring like the abundance that I'm really looking for. And like it's scary, but like those are things you gotta do and you gotta work through it. And oh, and I'm still paying rent here at home, unfortunately. I was hoping to not pay anything, but they're still making me pay. Like how rude. Um, not as much as like not living at home, but still paying rent, and I'm eventually gonna find a new place. And yeah, I feel better. I feel like that time that I took to rest, it made me be able to show up more and like show up online. Like I'm the type of person I can't work like a full-time job and build something like a side hustle at the same time. Or at least back then, like I couldn't handle that. Like that was too much. It was too overwhelming. And I mean, now I feel like I have the capacity to do that. I have the space to do that. So all that work paid off. And if you're in the same situation, you know, take the time that you need to rest. Don't completely put yourself down or, feel like it's the end of the world. Um, and yeah, get through this. And I forgot to mention, yeah, I don't know if I mentioned, I was nervous about moving back home because when I lived at home in the past, I was like in a really bad mental health space, and just like the relationship with my parents, it was, um, you know, the relationship with your parents is like your deepest wounds, right? And so it's kind of like very triggering. And so all that work that I did in the past 2 years, I was nervous about moving back home and going back into a really like bad headspace. But I feel like all that work that I did on myself allowed me to show up like completely differently. Yeah, there's still kind of some tough times where it's a little hard and I get triggered, but for the most part, it's like I'm showing up completely different with the relationship with my parents, and I feel more capable of handling everything, and I'm just like in a better headspace. So yeah, this is just to give you some hope. And I know I'm not the only person who moves back home when they're 30 years old or whatever age. I know there's other people, and we're just like ashamed to talk about it. And it's a lot of shame, and yeah, but my parents are getting older, and I just see this as a time I should be thankful for, to spend time with my parents. And I'm grateful that I actually have parents that would allow me to move back home, because if that wasn't the case, then who knows where I would be. Like, where would I be living? On the streets, like in a, what are those things called? A storage unit. I was like, where am I gonna live? Like, I almost like didn't want to move back home. I'm like, can I live in a car or something? But I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna suck it up. I'm just gonna deal with it. But yeah, this is just part of the journey, okay? And I will be successful, and I will make it. That is my testimony right there. All right. And that is all. Bye.